If you're feeling something shifting in your life and you'd like some tools for finding clarity for making that big decision, then this video is for you. So, I wanted to share first a story of my own discernment a few years ago when I was trying to make a very big decision. And at that time, I didn't have a number of discernment methods that I now have at my fingertips in order to make a decision that I felt really, really clear about. So, today I wanted to share some of the thoughts that I've had over the years about how to break down discernment into a process that really helps us to find the clarity that we need when we're making a really big decision. Even if we're not making a big life altering decision, if it's just something shifting in our lives, we're noticing maybe a chapter ending and maybe something new emerging. The first thing is I like to break it down into seasons to help us with finding clarity. So the first one is autumn, the season of autumn, and letting go and coming to the end of something. So this can be that you are spending some time identifying what is coming to a close in your life. What is coming to a natural ending point? What are you feeling that you don't have the energy for anymore? Maybe you feel depleted by something, maybe that used to give you energy, but now kind of drains you and you're not really sure why. But this is a chance in the beginning of the process to think, what do I need to let go of right now in order to make space for the next new thing in my life? So, autumn is about letting go. The winter phase of discernment and finding clarity is preparing and listening and sitting back and actually letting there be that kind of fallow period of not jumping into something new right away, but letting there be space, letting there be that margin so that you can begin to listen for what is emerging, listen for the voice of God, maybe directing you or inviting you into something, or maybe listening to yourself, listening to your deeper longings, listening to maybe what's missing in your life, and maybe also doing a bit of research and understanding what the possibilities might be without actually taking any steps of action yet. So that winter phase is about just waiting and allowing there to be that fallow period. And then there's the spring period of this discernment process. And that is when we begin to see those new shoots of life coming up and begin to see things emerging. We maybe begin to feel that energy rising up in us again towards something new, whether it's a new project that you want to get into, or maybe if it's a bigger life change that you begin to feel that drive for. But it comes after the letting go and the waiting. And so it has that kind of natural quality to it. It's been given the space to breathe, and that new life is beginning to bubble to the surface. So in that spring phase, we're beginning to see that new thing emerging. And then finally, in the summer phase, we're looking for the fruits of discernment, the blossoming of maybe that new thing actually starting to come into clear focus, into reality. And that's maybe when we are called to make an actual decision about something, maybe something we've been kind of toying around with in our mind, but we're not sure if it's actually going to happen. And at this point in the summer stage, we're really looking at, okay, this is for real now. What am I going to be doing here? And in this phase, we're looking for certain things about the fruit of our discernment. We're going to be looking for whether it sits well with us. How do we feel in our bodies? Now, we are paying attention to our bodies and how we respond in this whole process. And we're really trying to stay in that state of emotional equilibrium, not to be in an anxious and agitated state, but to be in that healthy kind of in between of, processing life in all of its complexity, but staying balanced within that. We're also looking for a sense of kind of inner peace about it. I know that can sound really lofty and maybe doesn't seem realistic, but what we're looking for is a sense of peace that basically, if there's something that you're looking at ahead of you and you see that it's not necessarily a perfect situation, but you feel that you could handle those certain challenges in that particular scenario. So it's not necessarily like kind of romantic, rose colored glasses sort of peacefulness, but it is a peace that you have what it takes to move into that next stage, that you feel that you're the right person to do that, have the energy to create this thing or to do this project or to take on this role or whatever it is that you are considering. So that sense of peace that you have what it takes, that you have the right strengths and maybe even the right weaknesses in order to do this really well. And then there's another element that I think is really important, and that's the affirmation of others. So during this fruits of the summer phase, we're looking for what about that external perspective? And very importantly, it needs to be from people we really trust and respect. And not that we don't love and trust and respect some of the people very close to us, but we need to really think objectively about the broader sense of our calling. Maybe that's somebody who's a mentor to you or a spiritual guide of some kind or an anamkara, a soul friend who really, really gets you in that deep way. So it's not just anybody's affirmation, but it's the affirmation of people who really, really understand your deeper sense of vocation and calling. And then that can also sometimes come in the form of community, whether it's a small group, a group of dear friends, or a group in your church, or some kind of a support group of people who again really get you and really would listen to the pros and cons and then be able to help you to find that clear way ahead. So those are the fruits that will come in the summer of your discernment process. So there you have 4 seasons to think through in your mind. I think that's a really helpful framework. And then beyond that, we want to make sure that we are regulating ourselves and really kind of tending to our bodies and our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well being throughout the period of discernment as we seek clarity. Because if we're not taking care of ourselves in that way, then actually it's really, really difficult for us to find that clarity. So continue to do any of the practices in your life that bring you that balance on a daily basis. Don't stop doing those during a time of discernment. Keep that regularity. Go for your walks, have your morning prayer time or your meditation, read scripture, read poetry, create something beautiful, all those things that really feed us and nourish us. You need to keep doing those things during a period of discernment because that will help you to stay regulated. And in that state of being very balanced, we actually make much clearer decisions. So that aspect is really important. And then on top of that are some really helpful methods in discernment that we can turn to. And this is something I didn't have at my fingertips when I was making that big decision some years ago. And I wished I had once I learned them. So they are methods of discernment. Many of them are within the Ignatian tradition, which has a very strong tradition of discernment practices. And one of them is the daily examine, which helps to look back at your day and to see moments of grace and beauty, moments of brokenness and learning, and then to always be kind of training yourself to listen for the invitation into what's ahead and to pray into the coming days that God will lead you and guide you and be with you in what's ahead. And there are other really powerful Ignatian discernment methods that can really be helpful if you're doing some intentional reflection on what is ahead for you. Those are some tips that I hope are helpful for you as you're trying to make a really good, clear decision, finding clarity for the next season in your life. I hope that you do find that clarity that you need for whatever is next for you. I believe that we have the tools we need to make really good, clear decisions as long as we really take the time and allow ourselves that space to really let something kind of sink in and really explore and trust that God is going to be with you on that journey no matter where it takes you. Just one final thought. When I made a decision some years ago that I found very difficult, and I didn't have those tools at my fingertips, we went through a period of time feeling that we were regretting our decision. And yet I felt many years afterwards that it wasn't a wrong decision after all, because really God made it all right and redeemed whatever we had done for maybe not the best reasons and made it just a wonderful experience for us. So in some ways, there's no bad decision. There's no wrong decision because it can all be made right again. It can all be redeemed. God will be with us no matter what decision we make and continue to lead us and guide us. I'll see you next time. Bye.